It's 10 p.m. You stand in front of the mirror, look down at your belly, and let out a heavy sigh. You tell yourself, if I just skip dinner and go to bed starving, my stomach will be flatter by tomorrow morning. So, you take a rumbling stomach and an anxious mind to bed, tossing and turning, scrolling through your phone until midnight. But did you know that the exact moment you carry that stress into your sleep, your body slams the fat-burning door completely shut? You might think that subcutaneous fat, that soft, pinchable layer under your skin, is the worst part. It's not. The true enemy is visceral fat. This is the dangerous, stubborn fat wrapping tightly around your liver, intestines, and pancreas. It acts like a toxic organ, silently dripping inflammatory chemicals into your bloodstream 24/7. And the harsh reality is this: you cannot do hundreds of crunches or blindly count calories to trick visceral fat into leaving. However, there is a golden window of time when your body is biologically hardwired to devour this exact type of fat. That time is when you sleep. But it only happens if you know how to send the right signals to your hormones. In today's video, we are not going to talk about exhausting, sweaty workouts. Instead, we are diving deep into the biology of sleep. I will show you a science-backed, 4-step nighttime routine designed to force your body into a visceral, fat-burning state for 8 straight hours. Before we get into the exact practical steps, you need to understand the invisible war happening under your skin the moment the lights go out. The biggest lie the traditional weight loss industry ever sold you is that your body is just a simple math problem of calories in versus calories out. But your body is not a calculator. It is a highly advanced, complex chemical laboratory governed entirely by your hormones. When you enter the restorative stages of deep sleep, a spectacular biological shift occurs. Insulin, your body's primary fat-storing hormone, drops to its lowest baseline level of the entire day. In response, your human growth hormone, or HGH, surges to its peak. To prove exactly how critical this is, a landmark study published in the Annals of Internal Medicine in 2010 revealed a terrifying fact. When participants were put on a calorie deficit but deprived of adequate sleep, a staggering 70% of the weight they lost came from their hard-earned muscle tissue, not their fat. Their bodies literally held onto the fat for survival. Conversely, when you secure high-quality sleep with rock-bottom insulin levels, your body quickly burns through its circulating blood sugar. Once that temporary fuel is gone, it is forced to tap into its massive hidden energy reserve, your visceral fat. But here is the catch. If you go to bed with elevated insulin from a late-night snack, or high cortisol from scrolling through stressful content, that fat-burning growth hormone is completely neutralized. You could be starving yourself on just 100-200 calories a day, yet you will wake up with the exact same amount of belly fat, feeling utterly exhausted and defeated. This perfectly explains why 2 people can eat the exact same 1,500 calories a day, yet experience completely different results. The person with a biologically optimized sleep routine will effortlessly burn visceral fat overnight. The person staying up late, stressed, and wired will break down muscle tissue and actually store more belly fat. To force your body into that ideal, fat-burning state every single night, you must activate 4 specific biological signals. Signal number 1. Locking the insulin valve. This is your evening fasting window. The primary goal of this step is to forcefully shift your cells from a state of hoarding energy to releasing it. Let me paint a picture of what happens when you eat late. If you have a late dinner, especially one heavy in carbohydrates, your pancreas immediately floods your bloodstream with insulin. It does this to shove that incoming blood sugar into your cells. But here is the biological catch. Your body possesses a highly critical enzyme called hormone-sensitive lipase, or HSL for short. Think of HSL as the master biological key. It literally unlocks the membrane of your fat cells, allowing those stubborn, stored fatty acids to spill into your bloodstream so they can be burned for fuel. But HSL has a mortal enemy: insulin. HSL can only be activated when your insulin levels drop back down to their absolute baseline. You might think that having just a tiny slice of apple or a small glass of unsweetened milk before bed is completely harmless. The reality? The second your pancreas detects any incoming energy, it pumps out insulin. And just like that, boom! Your fat-burning switch is violently flipped off. If you snack right before bed, your HSL is instantly paralyzed. This completely shuts down your fat-burning engine for at least the first 4 to 6 hours of your sleep. So, how do we fix this? The practice is simple, but it is non-negotiable. You must stop consuming all calories. Yes, that includes fruit, milk, and protein shakes. You need to stop eating at least 3 to 4 hours before your head hits the pillow. If your target bedtime is 10 p.m., your final meal of the day needs to be completely finished and your kitchen closed by 7 p.m. Beyond unlocking your fat cells, this evening fasting window has massive secondary benefits. It prevents dangerous acid reflux while you lie flat, and it finally allows your liver to focus on deep cellular detoxification instead of exhaustingly digesting food all night long. If you find yourself struggling with intense hunger during the first few days of trying this, do not panic. Simply pour yourself a warm glass of water or brew a cup of unsweetened chamomile tea to calm your stomach. Signal number 2. Stabilizing your blood sugar using a highly specific apple cider vinegar protocol. We just talked about closing the insulin valve. But how do you keep it locked all night long? Have you ever woken up at 3 in the morning, your eyes wide open, feeling a sudden, intense craving for carbs? That is a midnight blood sugar crash. Your brain panics, spikes your stress hormones, and completely halts your fat burning. To prevent this from happening, we use the active compound in apple cider vinegar, known as acetic acid. Science has proven that acetic acid physically slows down how fast your stomach empties, while simultaneously making your muscles highly sensitive to insulin. In fact, a study from the American Diabetes Association demonstrated that consuming apple cider vinegar right before bed significantly lowers your fasting blood sugar the very next morning. When your blood sugar remains perfectly flat and stable in the dark, you do not get those sudden hunger pangs. Your body finally feels relaxed and safe enough to break down that stubborn visceral fat. Here is your exact action plan. About 1 hour before you plan to sleep, take 1 tablespoon of raw, organic apple cider vinegar. You want the kind that still has the cloudy mother floating inside the bottle. Now, here is the critical twist. Do not mix it into a giant glass of water. Instead, dilute it in just a tiny splash of water, about 50 milliliters. That is basically 1 large sip. Why so little water? Because drinking a huge glass right before bed guarantees you will wake up to use the bathroom. That condition is called nocturia, and it will shatter your deep sleep cycles, ruining all your hard work. Take this quick sip through a straw to protect your tooth enamel from the acid. This protocol is an absolute game-changer, especially if you are showing early signs of insulin resistance or a fatty liver. But a quick medical warning: absolutely never drink apple cider vinegar straight, as it can burn your esophagus. And if you currently suffer from severe stomach ulcers, please skip this step entirely. Signal number 3. Shutting down the cortisol switch using temperature and light. Now that your insulin is locked, and your blood sugar is stable, we have to tackle the ultimate sleep destroyer: cortisol. Cortisol is your primary stress hormone. When it is high, your body is trapped in a state of fight or flight. And guess what happens when cortisol stays elevated at night? It literally breaks down your hard-earned muscle tissue and converts it into new blood sugar. This forces your insulin right back up, completely destroying all the hard work we just did in steps 1 and 2. To stop this from happening, we need to flood your brain with melatonin. This is the hormone that pulls you down into deep sleep, which is the exact golden window when that fat-burning growth hormone is finally released. But your brain's pineal gland, the tiny factory that makes your melatonin, is entirely controlled by 2 environmental factors: light and temperature. Let's talk about light first. When you stare at your phone in bed, the artificial blue light pierces right through your retinas. It tricks your brain into thinking the sun is still shining brightly. Instantly, your melatonin production is paralyzed, and your cortisol stays artificially high. Then there is temperature. Your core body temperature actually needs to drop by 1 to 2 degrees Celsius for you to successfully enter and maintain deep sleep. So, here is your practical routine. First, you must turn off all electronic screens at least 1 full hour before bed. If you absolutely must look at a screen, you have to wear high-quality blue light blocking glasses. Second, take a warm shower about 1.5 hours before you plan to sleep. It sounds counterintuitive, but as the warm moisture evaporates off your skin after you step out of the shower, it rapidly pulls the heat away with it. This gives your body the perfect amount of time to drop its core temperature to that ideal, sleep-inducing level. By mastering these 2 triggers, you will find yourself falling asleep twice as fast. This step is an absolute lifesaver if you are a stressed office worker, or if you spend most of your day sitting indoors staring at monitors. Signal number 4. Activating the vagus nerve using the 4-7-8 breathing technique. You are in bed. The room is cool. The screens are off. But your mind might still be racing from the stress of the day. This final step is the ultimate override switch. It violently forces your body out of the sympathetic nervous system, known as the fight-or-flight state, and pulls it deep into the parasympathetic nervous system, which is the state of rest and digest. Here is the fascinating science behind it. The vagus nerve is the longest and most important nerve in your body, running all the way from your brain down into your abdomen. When you are stressed, you naturally take shallow, rapid breaths. This tells your brain that you are in physical danger. As a defense mechanism, your nervous system completely locks down your visceral fat stores to save energy for emergency survival. But you can hack this system. By intentionally extending your exhale, you are physically massaging the vagus nerve. This sends a powerful, immediate signal of profound safety directly to your brain. Within seconds, your heart rate slows down and your blood pressure drops. And you must remember this absolute biological rule. Your body will only allow itself to burn deep fat when it feels completely safe. Here is exactly how to execute this technique. Lie down comfortably on your bed and close your eyes. Keep your mouth closed and inhale slowly through your nose for a mental count of 4 seconds. Now, hold that breath in for 7 seconds. Finally, purse your lips as if you were about to whistle, and exhale slowly through your mouth, making a gentle whooshing sound for a full 8 seconds. Repeat this exact cycle 4 times. This breathing technique works like a highly effective natural tranquilizer. It costs absolutely nothing, and it completely flushes out the toxic endocrine stress you have been carrying around all day long. Now, let us bring it all together. To turn these complex biological theories into actual measurable results on your waistline, you must build what I call the Metabolic Night Routine. Here is your exact timeline. 7 p.m. Your dinner is completely finished. The kitchen is closed. You have officially locked the insulin window for the night. 8:30 p.m. You take your warm shower. This gives your body exactly enough time to begin pulling heat away from your core. 9 p.m. You take that 1 tablespoon of apple cider vinegar, diluted in just a tiny sip of water. Your blood sugar is now perfectly stabilized, and you will not have to wake up to use the bathroom. At this exact moment, you begin dimming the lights in your house. The television goes off. The computer shuts down. 9:45 p.m. You set your bedroom temperature to a cool 19 to 21 degrees Celsius. Your phone is completely powered off, and you get into bed. 10 p.m. You execute 4 cycles of the 4-7-8 breathing technique. Your cortisol plummets. Your vagus nerve signals total safety to your brain, and you finally drift into deep, restorative sleep. Now, listen to me carefully. These 4 steps are not a buffet menu where you get to casually pick and choose your favorites. They are the tightly interlocked gears of a biological clock. Why does this exact sequence matter so much? Because your hormones operate like a grand symphony. You cannot force your brain to release melatonin if your cortisol refuses to step out of the way. And you absolutely cannot release that deep fat-burning growth hormone if your insulin is still spiking from a late-night snack. Executing this routine is not a restriction. It is the ultimate respect for your natural human biology. It is time we stop punishing our bodies. No more torturous, grueling workouts that leave you exhausted, and absolutely no more lying in bed with a starving, growling stomach. True, lasting fat loss is never about fighting against your biology. It is about deeply understanding it. When you finally respect your natural circadian rhythm and optimize the profound healing power of your sleep, that dangerous layer of visceral fat loses its grip. Your body already knows exactly how to heal itself. You just have to set the right environment, and your hormones will do the heavy lifting for you. I challenge you to start this exact 4-step routine tonight, and I want to hear from you. Drop a comment below and tell me your age, where you are watching from, and what time you normally go to sleep. I personally read through the comments, and I will be there to help answer questions about your specific situation. If you found this deep dive into human biology helpful, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the notification bell. That way, you will not miss any of our upcoming videos where we continue to decode the hidden science of your body. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.